Welcome to the underground, you rebel scum. This is the American Expat, and today we're going professional, like it's 1999, because I happen to have this Nikon F100 SLR film camera from the year 1999. And, today we're going to be talking about what this amazing camera can do, what its features are, and then we're going to take it out in the field and actually see how it performs today in the modern times. So, let's grab a cup of coffee and get started with all of this. Thanks for sticking with us. Before we get too far into the video, I want to remind each of you that the like button does live down below this video. If you wouldn't mind maybe going down there and clicking on that like button, it would go a long way to helping these videos get to a further audience. I mean, you can hit the thumbs down button if you want. I mean, if you don't like film cameras or there's something wrong with my face or whatever the reason is, I'll take all the feedback I can get. And now, without further delay, let's talk about this Nikon F100 SLR 35mm film camera from Nikon. I guess that's, yeah, I said Nikon already. Anyway, this camera was meant as a professional camera. Now, I know it's kind of supposed to be the downgraded version of the Nikon F5, which was the flagship Nikon camera at the time that this camera came out in 1999. And it's also been referred to as the predecessor of the Nikon F6, or a Nikon F6 that uses AA batteries. And yes, this camera uses AA batteries, so you'll never have to worry about not being able to find batteries to be replaced, and you will be replacing them. In fact, it uses so many batteries, especially if you have the additional grip thing with all the battery stuff in it. It uses so many of these, maybe you might want to consider having an extra camera bag full of AA batteries so that, you know, every couple of rolls of film, you're ready to switch them out. It's not that bad, actually, but it's an amazing camera. It really is. I mean, if you think about it, and it's like a Nikon F6, which was being produced all the way up until 2020, and that means, well, I guess for those of you who are wondering, it's like a digital camera, but with film. It has all of those wonderful features that you look for, autofocus and all of the different modes, aperture priority, shutter priority, manual mode, or complete total automatic mode, which is the program mode, where the computer does everything. You simply put the film in, it detects what the film is, point it at whatever it is you want to take the photo of, and click the button. And you're done. You have the photo. Perfectly exposed, hopefully, for what you want. It has different metering modes you can go through on the camera, tell it where you want to focus, all that stuff. Amazing camera, amazing. And yes, for those of you who want to do real photography and you know what you're doing, you're not afraid of that exposure triangle, again, it has a manual mode. You can put it in manual and do everything all on your own. You can push and pull the film if you want. Whatever you want. It's an amazing, amazing camera. But again, the batteries. But by the way, I happen to have the additional grip thing with the ton of batteries in there. That allows you to use the built-in motor drive and get up to 5 frames per second. It's not quite good enough for video, but you know, if you want to be catching some action and rapid fire succession, you've got that covered. It can still do the motor drive thing. It's just, it won't be quite as fast as 5 frames per second. I think then it's like 4.5. Probably depending on how much power is in your batteries. But just the same, amazing, amazing camera. Now, I currently have this thing loaded up with some Ultramax 400. It's supposed to have, like the colors really pop and that sort of thing. So we're going to go out and try that in a couple of places. I've also got a roll of Cinestill 800 tungsten film that I'm going to take out in the nighttime in the city under the street lights and all of that to see what that produces. So let's go hit the road and see what this camera's all about, and then we'll come back and talk about that. For this first set of photos, we're going to be heading into Coonskin Park. But first, there's this. Awesome. And, of course, another angle sort of the same thing. Beautiful. This is really where you can drop your boat in the river if you wanted to go fishing or something. Anyway, Coonskin Park, one of our favorites. We've been coming here a lot for these photos. It just has so many places to take photos in, and just look at those colors. The light coming through the leaves, beautiful. And rendered beautifully by the film. Another one, absolutely gorgeous. At least I think so. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments. Now, this next one, I am really excited about. We're headed way out of town to go see a waterfall. This one is called Cathedral Falls. And I want to try and capture a certain kind of photo with this waterfall, where the water looks all misty-like. That's really what I'm going for. Let's see if we can get this here. Shh, don't disturb me now. Butterfly. Ha! I think it worked on film. I know I can do that on digital, but and of course, here's the coffee machine. We got to get that in here. Now for those tungsten film photos. It's night, obviously. So let's go into the city and see what we can get on the streets of this Charleston at night. It looks cool on the digital camera. Of course, the digital camera is always going to be much sharper than anything I'm going to put. Well, we'll see. Let's get this stopped and see what this does. Down the street. Beautiful. Look at that halo around the lights. Neon signs. Look at that. I'd eat at that diner. Too bad that car passed in front. An alleyway with some lights on it. Interesting. A restaurant with street lights. Beautiful. It looks better in the photo. The library. I think I've caught this before in daylight. At night, it's got all those lights. Look at that. Beautiful. Different sort of colors on it. The old clock. We've always got to get the old clock. Look at that. Down this alleyway here, there's some lights. Tungsten. Look at that. It's kind of got a bluish color to it. This, of course, the bookstore across the alleyway. Yeah, look at that. Nice film effects. Coffee. We've always got to have coffee. Look at that. I'm ready for a cup right now. Through all this scaffolding. This ought to look interesting. Look at that. Awesome. And one last one on our way here. More coffee. We got to have the coffee. And we're back. Well, what did you think of the thing? How did it perform? I thought that the photos that we took over there in the park, I mean, the colors, the greens, they really did pop. So I'm kind of impressed with that Ultramax film. I don't really like the high ISO films, just, well, I don't know. What am I talking about? It gets more film grain in there, I guess, but I didn't notice it so much in those. I just noticed the really beautiful colors. The tungsten, the 800T film that we used in the night, it had some pretty neat results. I probably have learned a little bit more about how to use that film. I think I was thinking like I'd go and take all these pictures of neon signs and that sort of thing. It needs a little bit more light than what I was giving it, perhaps. Some of the situations, of course, like the scaffolding, it really worked for that. But maybe not my most artistic or incredible photo ever. But you know, we understand the film a little bit better. Yeah, it's pretty cool. The colors are really interesting. It actually, I took some photos of the neon signs using my A7 IV, and the colors that came out on the Cinestill film are way better. I mean, the colors are beautiful. There's a lot of grain in there. Sometimes it looks kind of like an old movie, which is awesome. I mean, you get all the bloom around the lights. It's really neat. I mean, for what it is, the effect of it. I wish that I could somehow just flip a switch on the camera and get those kinds of results. I mean, the digital camera, the A7 IV. But there's nothing that can really do that. It just doesn't work the same way. It has to do with the film itself, the properties of the film and the different things that are put on there, the way the light gets in and reflects on different things. So, now, yeah, it would be very difficult currently. I'm sure that there's a way to replicate the film look. But so far, I haven't found it. I mean, putting an old lens on a camera obviously doesn't produce the film look. You'd have to really work on the stuff somehow. I'm sure somebody's got it. Anyway, that's beside the point. I thought it performed really well. I love the camera. My wife is telling me, don't get rid of the camera. You know, my original intention was I'll get it and I'll try it out and then I'll just sell it to somebody. But she's like, don't sell those cameras. they're neat. And I'm like, okay, yeah, they are neat. What am I saying? I guess I can have some additional backup to my Minolta MC, or the Minolta camera that I've got that I use other times. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Get yourself a film camera. They're really cheap to pick up. Grab a roll of film and get out there and take some photos. I'd love to see your work sometime. Maybe I'll put up the email address at some point. You guys can send them in if you have some film photos that you would like to share. And again, I'll leave it at that. I'll see you guys in the next one.
ไฟพะวงหลงเฝ้าสาวเจ้าบางประกงทางไว้งงหลงเก้อหาโอเวรกรรมจำพรากจากไปไกลตา